Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Firstly, thank you to both Amit and Mugdha for giving me an opportunity. It's a privilege to come here and address. Uh, More importantly, to interact with all of you, to know what the best practices are, what's happening in the field of CSR, what we as a group or as a company could do better, and what are the new areas that we could actually look into. Uh, Unfortunately, I've had both Jayanti and Kunal before me, and some of the points that I had written, they've already mentioned, but I'd like to repeat some of them. I won't speak much about the group that I belong to. I belong to the Tata Group. I work with Tata Capital, which is the financial services arm of the Tata Group. Uh, I worked with the Tata Group for more than 25 years, so I might take more than the time that's been allocated to me when I speak about the group. So all of us know about the Tata Group, which is a conglomerate for the more than 150 years. We're celebrating our 150th year this year, so I won't spend too much time on that. Uh, so when I was speaking with Mugdha and when she requested me to address during the session, I was thinking what we as a financial services company or as the financial services industry could do. And when we speak about the SDGs, uh, the alignment of our projects to the SDGs. I'm sure all the companies that do have a mandate under the CSR budgets and all the implementing partners are in one way, aligned to the SDGs as such. Uh, Sometimes we keep thinking, and that's a question that, as we evolve as an organization, uh, we've always spoken about contribution. I won't call it charity, but it's contribution before the act came into place. Uh, and suddenly, over the last 4 or 5 years, it's become more strategic. We've evolved. We speak of jargons like alignment. We speak about social return on investment. We speak about impact. Many of the partners actually speak about lives touched. Corporates want to know about impacted. We conveniently use words interchangeably to see, whether we actually we touched lives or we made an impact on the lives of the individuals or the society that we serve. Having said that, surely as somebody who belongs to a great group, I think we are privileged to be serving the society or the people who actually require our support. We're not doing a favor to them at any cost. It's our privilege to be of support to them. Uh, there are few areas I'd like to speak about before I actually show you some areas about Tata Capital and what we do at Tata Capital. I wouldn't like to say all that we do at Tata Capital, but key focus areas which actually make a difference. The questions that we often ask ourselves and is surely when we look at a project is about the linkage to SDGs. Having said that, can we do it all? Can we do all the 17 SDGs? Do we want to do it all? Do we want to look at the depth or do we want to look at the breadth? Do you want to do some areas that you can do it excellently? Or would you like to say, I would like to contribute to all the 17 areas and say, or most of the areas and say, wow, I contribute to all the areas. India as a country, we have an opportunity to serve in many of the areas. Poverty is something which we all have to accept. Sanitation is something that we have to accept. Health is some areas which is always area of concern. Would we like to do all? Would we like to focus on a vital few? Would corporates, based on industry specific, like to focus on certain areas? For example, financial literacy, education, climate action. Those are areas that we think that we as a company, as a financial services company, that we could focus on and make a deep impact. Go into depth and do these areas very, very well. And you believe in the principle of sustainability. I've also noticed many of the projects that just go on. If you're believing in the philosophy of sustainability, you must ensure, and I keep giving the examples of a child, whether he or she has to walk, whether he or she, when he is riding a bicycle, you can't keep the support on ever on. There are so many areas that corporates also need to look at. How do I ensure, or how do we ensure that, they're sustainable, and all the projects that are sustainable, and that's what is our first principle that when we look at. Uh, you know, uh, Keto is one area which is very exciting, and we've had a lot of requests. So, as financial services, could we be possible incubators? Look at startups. Look at those projects where funding may be an issue, and we've had requests for minimal amounts, but are excellently, have been devised well, are conceptually very well. And as financial services, I think we have an opportunity to be out there and to support. We are also willing to look at it beyond CSR. Many of the companies look at it as a CSR kind of funding, but we're looking at it even beyond CSR. For example, affirmative action, which is one of our key areas, we've actually gone to entrepreneurs and actually given or extended them support at subsidized rates of interest, etc., not from the CSR budget, but for them to be sustainable, to help them develop models which in the long run will actually enable them to either create employment, create more entrepreneurs, those kind of activities, or to make more people employable. So when I come back to the basics, essentials, food, hunger, poverty alleviation, housing, sanitation, education, health, employment, employability. There are so many areas that we look at. And so because the Tata Group has a commitment in the affirmative action, at least for the underprivileged, I won't call them downtrodden, but for the underprivileged, we're looking at alignment of projects, towards those areas too. For us, it's about social inclusiveness. It's about supporting the underprivileged. It's about alignment to the SDGs as far as possible. We can do a lot for environment. We actually started with a lot for the environment. But then we realized it's also important to get them standing on the feet. For example, if we do something in education, take them forward, through scholarships that we supply to support them. Take them forward, you skill them, and then you employ them or make them employable or create entrepreneurs of them. That's what we call that as an impact. I can always touch lives by saying I've supported a school and I said, 50,000, wow, we've done 50,000 lives. And that's not what personally I, as head of CSR for our company, would look at. I would say, do I actually make an impact? When I provide employment to an individual, it actually impacts 6 people in a family, 4 or 5 people to 6 people. And it makes a difference to the individuals concerned. So, that's one area that we're looking at. There are always challenges, and the challenges that we face as an industry is about the depth of breadth that I spoke about, the alignment to the focus areas. So I belong to, I come from a financial services. Do I only support areas, do I support areas like education and financial literacy? No. As a good corporate citizen, I also have to support areas which are areas of interest for our country. And, you start with your local region, you expand towards the country, in various parts of the country, and ensure that, you make the desired impact out there. Having said that, there are always challenges that we have, and that's one of the reasons I said that we like to interact more with our implementing partners, whether the existing or the new ones. The challenge of meeting project timelines, cost overruns due to deadlines not being met, the impact that we actually started off by saying that we'll do and not implementing them. So those are a few challenges that we have. The CSR budget for the financial services industry has risen phenomenally. Last 5 years, there's been a 68% growth in the financial services industry. And the strengths have been that, there's financial knowledge, there's digital literacy, so there's an opportunity to get into the rural areas, etc. Of course, we lend, so therefore there's always an opportunity in terms of money being available, resources being available to the desired beneficiaries. there's always an opportunity to create entrepreneurs, more entrepreneurs, because banking and financial services is one industry that is growing very, very rapidly. When you talk about direct sales agents, or would you call yourself entrepreneurs, wealth managers, financial planners, we have it, rural lending. A lot of these individuals in the rural places would like to be in the areas. So it's important for us to create that employment, or create a possible avenue for employment there. Of course, there are challenges like reaching the last mile. There are lending risks. For us, when we give money, we also need to get the money back. So there are challenges on lending risks. And of course, the talent that we need to get from the industry, especially the rural areas. There are huge opportunities. India is growing. Rural markets, there's always an opportunity in the rural markets. Encourage more innovation, entrepreneurs, and of course, do we fund more projects in areas like environment and for environment protection. Tata Capital, I'll just show you. Can we have that screen, please? No, we don't. Okay, so this is what we actually measure by. I haven't mentioned the numbers because the numbers are not important, but it's important for us to create projects where there's excitement by the employees. The employees have to volunteer, and it's mandatory for each employee to actually do two projects a year, irrespective of whether it's Tata Group or Tata Capital. We have more than 40 projects. We have more than 35 partners. And we have a substantial amount in investment in the Tata in the CSR budget. Being a young company, it's been one of the fastest growing companies in the group, and there is a substantial amount that we actually support through the budget. We're not looking to be Mumbai centric or Maharashtra centric. We are a pan-India company, and we need to be present pan-India, and we will go across to many more states so this year we'll have Uttar Pradesh and Bihar, etc. coming in. So you'll have more and more states that we have an opportunity to serve. This is one project that we are quite fond of, and whether it's education or skill, this is a school that we actually took over 7 years back, and it's fully for scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, or the affirmative action that we have. 800 children from 1st to 10th, 50% girls. It's important for us to educate the girl child, and today, there's a 100% strike rate in terms of SSC pass out. So that's something that we've done very well. So we support right from nutrition to personality building to education, to teachers' initiatives, to uniforms, hostel fees, everything that we do in-house, so to encourage the girl child to come and study in this place at Palghar. So of course, there are some pictures. This is another thing that we like to do. I mean, when you see a township in Mumbai, it takes on an average 7 years to build a township, and we thought it's important for us to support the children of the laborers out there. So we started these along with Mumbai Mobile Creches. We had a tie with them to ensure that the children are not left with the gravel and the dirt, etc. in the locations. And today we're proud to say that we support substantially along with Mumbai Mobile Creches. There's also an alignment. Let me be frank. It's also because we have a major housing portfolio. So we are one of the largest housing lenders. But at the same time, it's also important for us to look at what we could do in terms of alignment with the SDG goals. Financial literacy, it's dangyan.com, enabling people to know, most of us think that we're very financial literate, but let me assure you that 75% of us out here do not know the basics about finance or financial literacy. Whether you talk about mutual funds, whether you talk about wealth management, whether we talk about stocks, whether we talk about banking, most of us are unaware. So we thought we'll catch them young. It's about 7 modules from 8th standard to 10th standard. Also along a tie-up with NFLAT and NISM to ensure that they're all financial literate. So it actually helps them to build up the financial knowledge. It also helps students to make a career because they're aware about what finance is about. So many people have actually chosen commerce as a field to go ahead with it. So skilling is one thing which is very, very, we do in a big way for the financial services industry. It's a huge cost that is involved there, but we're not looking at the cost. We're looking at as to how we could make an impact and how we could make the industry better than what it is today. So we've actually skilled close to about 5,000 people at the moment, 45-day robust program, in-house programs with the best for financial services. Of course, we do a lot of vocational training with our partners, and it's again important for them to choose the career that they want. Affordable housing, so I keep saying essentials. When we talk about food, clothing, and shelter, it's important for us also to do something in the area of housing. I'm sorry about I'm sorry about that. Anyway, so we do in housing, and last but not the least, because we have a clean technology company along with International Finance Corporation, we've also ensured that we do a lot of projects in renewable energy, and we've done that substantial amount. We're proud to say that when we say India is electrified, you really need to go to the rural areas to see how much electricity is there. So we've actually tried to make a difference through solar energy, through the technology that we have, through the know-how that we have, and of course through the funding that we have. I'd like to end with a quote which I actually heard this morning, and I think it's made a deep impact on me. And it was actually a motivational video, and I was trying to relate it to what we do in the field of corporate sustainability. And the motivational speaker actually says, a lot of us want to go to heaven, but very few of us want to die. So similarly here, a lot of us want to do many things for the society, but how many of us actually, support in terms of contribution, in terms of, not necessarily in terms of financial, or in terms of volunteering, or in terms of actually making a small change to the society that we actually can. My endeavor at least towards the people that, the organization that I deal with and the employees, my colleagues that I deal with, is to ensure that it's not about money alone. You can make an impact, you can make a change when we actually, immerse ourselves in the field of society. Thank you so much for giving an opportunity, and look forward to interacting with you all later, and if possible also working with some of you out here. Thank you so much.